This is a slightly sinister subject, so I put on my sunglasses. I'm thinking about the sacrifice made by Abel when he gave his offering to the Lord, and the offering was accepted, and it was animals from the flock. Whereas the offering of Cain, of course, was not accepted, or was frowned upon. And to offer a sacrifice is quite something, really. And even thinking about the world of farming, when you process your cattle or your sheep, I think many farmers, and particularly small farmers, would have given them names over the course of a year or 2 years. I don't know how long they keep them for, perhaps even 3 in some cases. And, you're killing an animal to sell it and to eat it. And this is the thing that vegetarians and vegans find so reprehensible and cannot stomach. But of course, even a rancher must feel some regret from time to time, particularly his children, if they become particularly attached to this beast or that. And it's part of the process, and you have to go with it. So a sacrifice is quite a big. It's one thing to take a load of flour or a load of flowers or melons or whatever you've managed to produce. It's another thing to take the cream of your flock and to kill the animal and to lay it before the Lord. It's there's more commitment to it, really. And also the animal is the Lord's anyway, because you've used your artifice to grow your garden and to produce your plants. So it reflects your skill also. Whereas the animal, if it has access to clean pasture and clean water, and perhaps shelter in some climates, then the meat will be absolutely fine, because God has grown the animal, as it were, has raised up that animal. So you're not really taking the credit for it. Now imagine a scenario. Let's think of the Passover, when the people of Israel were called upon to take an unblemished lamb from the flock and to cut its throat at a certain time, and then to roast it on a fire and to eat it standing. Imagine if something like this were to be required in Israel imminently. Every single family were to take an animal and kill it to the Lord. What animal would you have to hand? Some people would have a pet. Would you sacrifice a pet to the Lord? That's quite something, isn't it? Where is your reluctance to do it? Perhaps you've idolized that animal, the very fact that it's called a pet. You're not a child. Why do you need to pet something? Is it a working animal, or is it a pet? Is it just feeding your conceit? Have you vested it with improper properties? Have you made it into an idol? The idol of the animal kingdom. It's very widespread these days. So many people will have dogs upon dogs and cats upon cats, and believe that they are doing good in the world, asking for money to rehome this one and to make sure that not one is lost and that they be cared for. It's become a moral obligation to care for for these creatures throughout their wretched lives. I told you it was going to be quite a dark sort of subject, but when you think about it, am I wrong? Do we not have too many dogs and cats in the neighborhood? If the Lord told you to sacrifice one, would you do it gladly? Or would you turn away?